We are back. Um, we have Miss Ibarra here. 2 years ago, she quit social media for 5 years. So, assuming that she will be 7 years in, which will be 3 years more than I am. So, hopefully, I will also learn something. Let's see what happens.
Hey everyone, welcome to Yessie TV, where you can find weekly videos on minimalism and healthy living to help you live a simpler, happier life. Today I want to talk to you about something that's a bit controversial, and it's why I do not have social media. I quit social media about 5 years ago and I do not see myself going back. So today I'm going to share with you my 6 reasons for why I quit in the first place, and if you stick to the end, you will get my tips and tricks of things that I do to maintain my relationships. Reason number 1, superficiality. I had lots of friends on social media, but they felt superficial and fake. Not the individuals, but the relationships. They didn't know what my life was like at home. They didn't know that I faced depression, and much less would they have known why. These were not the kinds of friendships that I wanted. I didn't want to have 500 friends, but not have a single person to talk to about real life, deep situations, and what I was actually going through and facing in my life. Fear of loneliness. I mentioned in a previous video how I overcame social anxiety, that I was actually given a diagnosis of social anxiety disorder. Having said this, I was scared to talk to people, but I did want friends. That little Facebook message alert suddenly became addicting to me. I loved to see that little guy pop up, and I called.
So, yeah. Um, feel bad for you that you had to experience social anxiety. I'm not sure if that's actually curable or not. I don't know anything about it. Just know that it is a coping mechanism for using these apps. And those kinds of people that do struggle with social anxiety, they respond instantly on your messages. Like they be they be on there waiting for you to you send them a message, right? Um, yeah, let's continue.
Call it addiction because I was happy when it was there and sad and lonely when it wasn't. It was as if the more messages and likes and friends I had, the more it meant people actually liked me, that maybe I wasn't a loser after all. This just made my social anxiety much worse. I'm kind of nerdy, so I have to share just a tiny bit of an article that I was reading on the effects of social media and mental health. Just stick with me, it's short. One of the studies indicated that internet use in general significantly affects social relationships and participation in community life. In this research, authors found that increased time spent online is related to a decline in communication with family members, as well as a reduction in the user's social circle, which may further lead to increased feelings of depression and loneliness. And if you just search the terms social media and its effects on mental health, I bet you there.
So some of you guys are at the stage that you might not have any social circle. You might have one friend that you barely talk to, or you might have one family member that you talk to, but that's about it. And that's why it's the most scary part, but you have to do it in order to gain the confidence, to order to know yourself, to order to be part of the healthy ladder, of society. So it's very important. I'm not gonna dive deep into loneliness itself, but um, usually the solution is test hypothesis, which I do talk briefly in almost every video, that you have to experience a lot of things and that you'll realize it is not bad after all, because the more things you try, you actually make friends. So,
There are hundreds of thousands of articles just like these. Validation. I wanted to be liked. No pun intended. I had to post just the right picture at just the right angle because it felt as though the more likes I got, the more it meant people actually liked me. And for someone with very low self-esteem, it really only meant that I was spending hours a day scrolling through pictures of gorgeous people living perfect lives and only putting myself down because I wasn't living that way and I didn't look the part. I didn't have the perfect lifestyle, the perfect family, the perfect body, the perfect wardrobe. And for me, it meant that I was constantly feeling less than others because I was seeking validation from outside myself, as though others' perceptions of me mattered more than what I perceived myself to be.
So this is the part where I talk about self-respect. Not that you're not respecting yourself, but you need to look internally, like who you are. It's one of the four pillars that C.S. Josephs explains very well. CS as in computer science Joseph, and then you look for the four pillars, then you can see his videos. So yeah, that's what you're gonna be working on, because if you don't have a strong foundation of social circle, or you kind of manage that, then the next thing will be this, right? Like knowing yourself.
I would spend hours trying to take the perfect profile photo, only to change it later on because it wasn't good enough. Have you ever been guilty of this one? Let me know in the comments. Missing out. The fourth reason why I quit social media is because I was missing out on the world around me. 5 years ago on a beautiful fall afternoon, I caught myself on a beautiful mountaintop. Gorgeous view, I had never been there before. And I realized I had a problem when my first thought when I was there was, let me whip out my phone so I can take a picture and post all about it. I didn't know how to be present in the moment and enjoy the situation I was in because I was constantly in this routine of post, talk about it, picture. I was missing out on amazing experiences because my attention was focused on letting the world know about it rather than me enjoying it. Escape. One of the other reasons why I quit social media is not only because it was what I turned to face happy situations, but it was also a way to escape negative situations in my life. And this is for several reasons. Reason number one is I could avoid stressful and negative thoughts and memories because it provided me with an easy distraction. Reason number two is I could avoid crucial conversations with other people because it was so much easier to message them than actually speak to them face to face. And for someone with social anxiety, this was perfect. It meant I didn't have to face my fear of talking to people face to face. And reason number three, I could escape feelings of boredom because it tricked me into thinking that I was actually doing something even though not all too productive. Which leads me to my last reason.
So I didn't necessarily touch base with that, like even though you're bored, or when you are bored and you do some hobbies or your doing the test hypothesis, what I talk about, then it doesn't have to be productive, because if we want to be the most efficient productive with that one, then you have another problem. Then you also have a productivity problem, right? That is maybe because you have been following these people with toxic productivity, right?
Lack of productivity. I have a confession to make. I used to follow the lives of the Kardashians and waste hours of my time just following the lives of reality TV stars. I don't know, maybe if I watched enough Lives of Millionaires, I could become one too? No. The truth is, we all have the same 24 hours in a day, and I was done being the consumer, spending hours a day consuming the information that other people put out. I wanted to be more focused on how I could be the producer and how I could be a boss, how I could give a service to the world instead of constantly just being a consumer. Once I quit social media, it instantly increase my productivity because it freed up hours of my day that I could actually now invest in myself and improving my abilities and my knowledge base so that I could accomplish the goals that I had for myself. Because before all that, I didn't even have goals to begin with.
So there you have it. Um, she knew herself at one point, and then she wanted to do this, right? This is all in logical order. Usually, like this is like between after the second year, and like you're confident, and now it's time to do this.
So, between all of those things that I've mentioned, the fear of loneliness, the need for validation, the superficiality, the easy escape, missing out, and the lack of productivity, social media is just not for me. If you're interested in leaving social media, but you're afraid of how it might affect your relationships, I've got 3 tips for you of things that I do to kind of maintain and keep up with your relationships. Tip number 1, ask people for their birthdays or any special events or occasions or holidays that they celebrate and jot those down in your calendar. And make sure that once they're there, that you have it to where it's recurring so that it will remind you to give them a call or to message them on that day. Preferably call them. What better way to tell someone happy birthday than to actually give them a call and wish them happy birthday? I know for me, I have one friend that will always call me on my birthday, and even if I don't answer, she will leave a message and sing that song to me, and it makes me feel very special. Tip number 2 is to actually call someone once a week. You can do more frequently if you feel like that you have time for it. But to actually schedule it in as something recurring as a habit ingrained in you is going to be so much better at maintaining those relationships. And I say call because this way you can actually have a much more deeper conversation. How many times has somebody passed you on the street saying, "How are you?" And you say, "Good," as they're walking away from you? Messaging can be very similar. It can be very superficial. So pick up the phone, you can hear their tone of voice and actually have a deeper conversation. And lastly, tip number 3, make sure you contact people frequently or routinely when you don't need something. The last thing that people want is to be that person of, "Oh, he's calling me because he needs me for something." So make sure you're constantly looking to serve others and find out how they're doing and what they're needing rather than finding your needs met.
Hate to be the deal breaker here, not on what she says, but for you as an audience. If you are the person that is forgetful to contact people, um, there's no biggie. You actually can make a routine of that, like on the 9th of May, on 12 o'clock, you try to call this person, but your mom will be more regularly, right? You will call her every other day, maybe. So those kinds of things. Actually setting it as a reminder or in a calendar as a routine, there's nothing bad about it. It sounds bad, it sounds weird, but in this busy day, busy in in this busy era, in information age, like don't tell them because it becomes kind of awkward. But if we just do it and just keep in touch with them, not necessarily like exactly 12 o'clock you call them, maybe you call them the next day, but it's on your reminder, right? So your reminder is on due, so you have something to do, right?
There you have it, guys, my 6 reasons for why I quit social media and why I do not intend to go back. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe so that you won't miss out on my weekly videos. I thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.
All right, thank you, Miss Ibarra. Ibarra, I'm trying the R. Enjoyed it. This video has been a scenery like I was watching a video between 2010 and 2013. Kind of got me back, so I assume then you are 30 or 30 plus. Um, I am a person that randomly verifies if the story is legit, even though I can't, though necessarily just because watching videos, but I will in a second. Um, I really like it was refreshing, not only the scenery, but some things you have mentioned were also refreshing. Not like you also have the basics, like the validation and those kinds of parts, but you also had, let me double check which part it was. Um, well, I commented on it, so I'm a forgetful person. I'm in the moment, as they say. All right, so let me check your channel a bit. Like, no offense, but I'm someone that listens to my intuition. Let's see, because you also have digital minimalism. Quitting social media, guest interview. Mm, do we have time for this? Let me see. The one is 2 years. 2 years ago. Let me see. Okay. Answering your questions about quitting social media. I'm not gonna bored of quitting social media. Okay, so you realize the boredom. Alright. Let's do the interview. This is going to be interesting.
I have posted several videos on all things quitting social media, and today I'm excited to bring along a fresh perspective. So I'm going to be interviewing my close friend Bee. She is a warm-hearted lover of all things nature, health, and fitness. And we are going to be talking about all things relationships. What relationships are like with versus without social media, how you keep up with friends, and what dating is like as well. Because undoubtedly, when you first make that decision to stop social media, it can be a difficult decision and it can feel isolating or lonely. So hopefully you'll find this information helpful. And if you do like this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe so that you won't miss when I post a new video. So without further ado, let's get on with the interview. So, Bee, thank you so much for meeting with us today and talking about this topic. I know that a lot of people are questioning whether or not they should quit social media, what relationships are like with or without social media, or even dating, and what that's like. So, thank you for meeting with me today and making.
So this is hopefully an unexpected, extremely helpful video. So you guys can compare.
This time. And the first thing that I wanted to talk about is you have had social media, and I remember when we first talked about how I quit social media, you did a social media fast. And you basically went for a long period of time without social media. And I just wanted to ask first, what made you decide to do that?
Well, first, I want to thank you for inviting me.
Yes.
We've been talking this for a long time. Yeah, about social media. I don't know, because every year I always do a fasting. It's our church fasting. Then I always hold off social media for, I think it's like 1 month fasting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I did that. You have to give up everything.
Like Instagram, TikTok, Facebook?
I don't really have
all
those.
those things?
Well, I don't have those. I only have like, I was really hooked with Instagram. So I decided.
Again, Instagram. I tell you guys, I'm just gonna mention it again. The most addictive app in the world. It has chat, it has advertisement, it has videos, it has highlights, it has reels, it has stories. It basically has everything to keep you hooked up, right? Probably forgetting some terms, but it's the worst.
Decided to hold off. So I don't know. I felt like after 1 month of doing my Danielle fasting, I feel great. I feel like, oh, it's time. I'm done with my fasting, and I should be on. I should get back in social media. But for me, I mean, I was just like happier not having a social media. I don't think it's necessary for me to be on again. It's not for everybody, but for me, it was time consuming. It's not like I always post all the time, but I would love to share like posting like with my hiking, my travel. I
Yes.
love that. But I feel like it's not, I'm comparing myself with other people, but sometimes I don't have time. I always have a very hectic schedule, tight schedule, working long day, long hours.
So did it make you more stressed to have
It made me like less stressed not having had it.
Okay.
Seriously, because at the end of the day, like working long day, instead of being with your phone, it's not like you're posting, you just look and then look with the other people, what they do
Yes.
and everything. And sometimes you won't have time
for
like,
yourself,
for
your own
my
life?
my own
Yes.
life, not having your own time, and instead not having a relationship with God. Instead, like being with social media. Instead, you pay.
Yes. That makes
You
a
know
lot
what I
of
mean?
sense.
Yeah.
Good base. When you come home tired, you might feel like everything is a chore to do, but social media. Hopefully that makes sense. And she wants to pray to God, so maybe that wants to do some dishes. Maybe she maybe wants to walk her chihuahua, and that's all gonna be like just before bed. So that that's not good, right?
Yeah. So
Well, one of the things that people are often worried about when it comes to quitting social media is how do you keep up with your friendships? And is it possible to keep up with your friendships? So that's something that I think would be wonderful to talk about because we've been friends for a long time and I haven't had social media. So talk about your perspective on how you maintain friendships.
yeah, for me, I'm the kind of person that I always reach out. You know, I have so many friends from different states like California, Houston, that I used to live in California. So I don't really need to talk to them every day, but random, I just message. And then if I want to share, like I went hiking or stuff like that, I just share it with the people that I love and, like my family, you know what I mean? So if not, I just reach out like, hey, how are you? How's your day? And some people would ask me that question. They were just wondering, hey, what's wrong? Everything good? You're quiet? How come you don't have social media? Like yesterday, I had dinner with my friend Amanda, and then she said, you don't have social media. Are you not gonna go back to social media? And then I'm just being honest.
It's kind of a weird thing, isn't it? Like
Yeah,
for some
I feel
people,
like
you don't have it? What?
That's a good one. People will ask you that. They always ask me. Some people are still nagging me, like, "Hey, I gonna send you a picture, like I want to see what you're up to and those kinds of stuff." Um, so this woman, you can clearly see she's also been at the 40-year mark. That's my expectation, at least, because the instant gratification is no more. She just randomly texts like, "Hey, how are you doing?" Or you just send some picture maybe the next day, or those kinds of like response hours later. So that's how you know that this woman does not have instant gratification, which basically means instant replying, right? Or instant expectation of other people replying to you.
yeah, it's just like, even at work, everyone does it, Facebook, but I want to have a private. I just come to the point
You're that
like,
mysterious woman.
yeah, I'm the mysterious,
Sexy, mysterious woman.
the single mysterious woman.
Yes.
So what I do, I just reach out once in a while, like, happy Thursday, happy Friday, and then
Yes.
we kind of like go out.
Keep up.
Yeah, keep up, and then. But they respect me with my decision not having it because it's not like it's gonna end of the world not having a social media. And I learned it from you.
Well, I'm glad.
I mean, it made me happier, no stress, no pressure. For me, I don't have to be like on public that I have to show like what's going on in my life. So it just come to the point that I just want to have my own privacy, and then off social media, then I could still keep up with friends.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So it's not really a big deal like you really have to have a social media. It's a time consuming for me, and I have a busy
Big
life.
time
Yeah, I have a
consuming.
busy life, and I have, like a day after work, things to do. I'm more happier.
You
I'm
have
more
time to
like-
focus on you now.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. That's the right word. Yeah.
Do you feel like it also, in a way, showed you who your friends really are? Like, which were the acquaintances that you mentioned, and which were actually friends that are there for you that you can actually lean on?
Yeah, I think so, because some of them I haven't heard from them. I mean, it is what it is, but it's not really a big deal. But you would really know who you're.
Yeah, so this is also what people are afraid of, and I've also been there. You have a couple of people that you're seeing all the time, and the moment that you delete this app, they have a hard time to keep up. And I already told the reason, but I will tell you the reason again. It's because they're hooked. This is their routine. They won't even register in their brain. Like, they see the message, but they cannot register because it's from another app. They don't see your name. They just see it, like, they just either swipe up or they don't see it mentally, right? It's not because they want to ignore you. It is just how it is. It's the hooked.
Friends.
Yes. I think
Yeah.
that's one of the things that it helps in. Now, talking about dating and what dating is like with social media versus without social media, do you think that that really changes in any significant way where, let's say, social media either improves or can worsen a relationship? What do you think about that, having had it and not had it?
For me, I think not having a social media, because I started January, it helps. It really helps me, like focusing on myself, my life,
Yes.
what's important, what should I do, what's the highlight, what's my goal. It's not like, oh, what are we gonna wear, what am I gonna
Yes.
post, oh, I'm gonna be with here, like what am I
I don't
gonna
have enough
wear,
clothes.
you know what I mean? So it's just like organic, natural. So I love it. It's more about me being like who you are, who is B, not trying too much hard. It's not like
Yes.
I'm not saying like everyone that who really likes social media are trying, but it's just like me, like being
Your genuine,
genuine,
self.
authentic self.
Yes.
Yeah.
So again, you have the authentic self, the confident self. She's been there. She built her foundation. Like, she did the years, right? She served the years. No, you haven't been to prison, right? Um. So it also social media also ruins dating. I haven't touched on this, but I will touch it on now. It ruins dating because you will have this type of people, and maybe you'll recognize yourself in this, is that you will find everything out about this person before you actually start dating. What is the point of dating? Like, you're already obsessed with that person. You're already seeing babies with that person. You're not actually seeing this person as how that person actually is. You're just seeing, you're in love with the version of the social media of that person, the highlights. So it's hard. So it ruins dating. That's just something, maybe you've been there with the obsessive part. I'm not saying Miss Abari, you've been there, but I'm talking to my audience. Maybe you've been there, but that's what it is. So how do you cure that? Of course, getting rid of social media will cure that eventually. But you would cure that is that just actually go to just date. Like, no expectations, just go. Like, maybe one, two, or three things that you've seen. Don't scroll through and like, okay, I like this person, I like this. Like, just see, it's just a date. It's just a drink, right? Why do you need to know everything from the start, right? That's crazy.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so there's no big difference, and I'm even happier because I did that before in 2019. I was off, and then I think it took me almost 2 years to get back in social media.
So
I
you
know,
went for a
2020.
time where you didn't have it, and I think you said it was like a month, but then you went back to it, and then you, since January till now it's May, so 5 months
Yeah,
that you've
yeah,
gone without
yeah.
it. What was that time like of going back to it? Was it like, oh, what am I really doing? Or just talk about that.
Yeah, when I get back, oh yeah, so although I miss my friends, I don't really see them because you can only see them because they share pictures in social media because that's what you do, like TikTok or whatever other, like Facebook with their travels and everything. So it's just nice to see them, like when I got back, oh, you know what I mean? But it's kind of overwhelming too because you know what I mean? It's like, oh, I need to post, you know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
I need to, you know what I mean? It's the pressure, like you tend to compare your life.
So it kind of came back.
Yeah,
just like before.
yeah, you can.
So this is when you are at the 2-3 year mark. You're not ready yet to go back. So what happens? The relapse. We humans are not as strong as the app because it preys upon all the errors that humans have, which are the cognitive biases, and then eventually you will get hooked because you see your friends. According to what she said, she never actually deleted her Instagram. She just deleted Instagram on her phone, I guess. Because if you get back all your friends back, then I assume that's the case. You actually should just delete the account, right? But I cannot 100% verify it, but assumptions here to be made.
You kind of compare your life, and I think it's not helping me to focus on myself. So I just decided to you know,
Yes, to stop.
to stop, and then I feel better. And then I attended a wedding like a month ago. It's my friend.
You
She's-
didn't post it on Instagram.
and then I was like, okay, I'm ready to be back in Instagram. And then I think I called you that day. I got there in Houston, and then okay, I need to log in Instagram, okay, because I'm gonna be with my friends, and then with my old friends in Houston. I'm back, and then here you go, attending a nice wedding. You know, I'm wearing a nice dress. You know what I mean, with my friends. I don't know. For some reason, when I try to, am I doing it right? Am I doing it? Do I really have to go back in Instagram? I had a hard time. Like I'm having a second thought. So, and then never mind, forget it.
It was like
So I
going back
didn't.
to the addiction. But you didn't.
No, I didn't. So I'm proud of myself. But I just shared a few of my friends. I think I sent it to you, right? The wedding.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
See, and that's where I think you can.
You can just send it to your friends, right? You don't need Instagram. Just send a few that you care about, like, hey man, you know, how was your day? Blah 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 blah. Well, I attended this wedding. Blah 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 blah. That's it. Like, you don't need that highlight.
Really develop a deeper relationship with those people that you really care about, that really care for you, because you're connecting with them, or it's more of a private thing. Like, oh look, I went to this event, or I did this thing, where it's not for the world to see, where a lot of people will just comment or give a like or a thumbs up, and they don't really care about you. They don't care. So yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Good
yeah,
for you.
I know.
So, last question where I think we can just leave off is, what advice would you have to people that are thinking of quitting social media, or people that are in relationships or trying to date without having social media? Because a lot of people, I guess they think they have to have social media to be able to find people online.
It's not really, I think it's not really for all having a social media. There's nothing wrong having a social media.
Yeah.
Because, you know, that I understand that that's how people connect,
Yes.
stay connect, right? And then meet people. But those people who have social media, for my advice, they don't just have to focus like social media is their life. Like
Right,
every minute, every second, it's just like they're in their phone. Oh, what to post, like selfie. It's just like, it's not really healthy, you know what I mean? So you can't really focus with yourself. So there's nothing wrong as long as it's just like about balance. You know what I mean? How to
Yes,
balance your life.
I love that.
You know what I mean? So being positive, because sometimes it could be negative.
People have said that the word balance is toxic, like it's overused. But I
Yes,
think it's
yeah.
wonderful, because I don't think social media is evil. it's not a bad thing. Like you
No,
said, it
yeah,
connects
yeah,
people.
yeah.
But at the same time, if you take it to extremes where we're doing this,
Yeah.
or we're
yeah.
talking on our phones and we're sitting across each other having dinner, but we're not really talking to
Yeah,
each other.
yeah.
Like, yes, that happens.
Yeah, because that happens to like, oh, before, old school, like, like before we eat, we have to bless the food. But now, oh, wait, we're going to take a picture of the food and
That's
post.
That is so true. Like, no, forget the blessings, the prayers. Let's take a selfie.
I know, right? So something like that. So it's about balance. I mean, it's not all about social media. You know what I mean? That's your life. That's your focus. So, but there's nothing wrong. It's just like not too much. You know what I mean?
I love that as the conclusion. Like, you own your life, work on you, improving yourself, and just finding that happy balance for you, whatever that means.
Yeah.
So there you have it, guys. I actually like the second video way better than the first video. Like, it felt so 2012 that, and so, how do you call it, scripted, that I wasn't sure. It wasn't raw enough. And now I see these two ladies talk. Like, look, I love how they look at each other on the video. That was a nice pause. They genuinely adore each other as friends. Like attracts like, right? Great video. I have massive respect for these women. I can see that I'm not sure about the age, but the 30 plus age, they have a way easier time because their childhood was way different, right? They grew up with a beeper. I'm not sure if that's the right word in English, but it's basically a device what people on hospitals still use, right? To communicate. They give you a certain number, and that is the number that means go, or that's the number that means call me back, or those kinds of stuff. That's the age that these women grew up to, and so it's easier for them. But if you are younger, like in your 20s or now even in your teens, then it's way harder because it's a developed habit in your childhood. It's very strong. I think these women are really feminine. I like that. Um, I like that they also mentioned the comparison bias because that's usually way worse for women than for men. I like they were really genuine about it. They were enjoying the conversation. Um, yeah, this was a great video. I love that I'm doing the reaction videos and this unexpected video came up. I should actually check more often. I'm happy that I double checked not only because I was checking her, but double checked if she had more videos and it turned out to be great. I have massive respect for these ladies and I wish them all the best in their journey.